From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. It's Idaho's daily news. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. Plenty of news to share with you today, including yet another conviction for Lori Vallow Daybell, this time out of an Arizona courtroom. We will also tell you how local advocates and caregivers are sounding the alarm over potential cuts to Medicaid and the food stamp program, better known as SNAP. And we'll also tell you about how the Sun Valley City Council was Zoom bombed. It is Wednesday, the 23rd of April, and here come today's stories. The body of Pope Francis now lies in state in St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. That in preparation for a funeral scheduled for this Saturday. Meanwhile, memorial services are being held in many corners of the world. In Boise, the Catholic Diocese will hold a memorial mass today at the St. John's Cathedral. That's scheduled for 12:15 p.m. Now to local advocates and caregivers sounding the alarm over potential federal cuts to Medicaid and the food stamp program, also known as SNAP. As Troy Oppie reports, the two programs touch approximately 1 in every 6 Idahoans.
About 340,000 Idahoans are covered by Medicaid. About a third of those also receive federal food benefits called SNAP. Congressional Republicans have proposed trimming more than $1 trillion from those two programs over the next 10 years.
Medicaid is very lean and efficient, and there is not $880 billion worth of fraud to eliminate.
That's Hillary Hagan, Senior Policy Associate with Idaho Voices for Children. She says here in Idaho, those cuts would force the end of Medicaid expansion unless lawmakers raise taxes to make up the difference.
This would push approximately 88,000 Idahoans back into the health coverage gap without any affordable health insurance options.
The proposals also call for a 20% cut to the SNAP food benefit program. That likely means about $42 fewer each month for most participants, down from around $190 on average right now. 1 out of every 15 Idahoans utilizes SNAP. Idaho's congressional delegation previously voted yes on resolutions calling for budget cuts. Now it's up to the House Energy and Commerce Committee to figure out the details. Idaho Congressman Russ Fulcher sits on that committee. Troy Oppie, Boise State Public Radio News.
Montana is now the 9th state with a measles outbreak. The Associated Press reporting that this year, the U.S. has more than doubled the number of measles cases it saw in all of 2024. Health experts fear the virus will take hold in other U.S. communities with low vaccination rates. As for Montana, these are the first measles cases in that state in 35 years. In an Arizona courtroom late Tuesday, Lori Vallow Daybell was convicted of conspiring to murder her ex-husband Charles Vallow in 2019. Immediately following the verdict, here was Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Justin Bariski questioning Vallow Daybell.
And you're further stipulating that as a result of your conduct, at least the victim or the victim's family suffered emotional or financial harm?
Absolutely.
And you're also further agreeing that the offense involved the presence of an accomplice?
Yes.
In Idaho, Vallow Daybell had already been convicted for the murders of her children and conspiracy to murder her husband's first wife. Meanwhile, she's scheduled to go on trial again, this time in early June, on a charge of conspiring to murder the ex-husband of her niece. She will be sentenced for yesterday's conviction after this second Arizona trial, and she does face another possible sentence of life behind bars. There was a bit of drama during this month's meeting of the Sun Valley City Council. None of it was on the agenda.
Earlier in the meeting, there was an interruption in the Zoom feed, kind of a little fast action and confusion. But what happened is what's called Zoom bombing.
That is Sun Valley City Attorney Matt Johnson saying the City Council meeting was Zoom bombed with someone putting inappropriate material onto the city's Zoom feed. He said mid-meeting, the council had to stop that video feed.
In action, we'll take a look at the recording of the video and look whether something needs to be done and then have further discussion. It's very hard with public meetings on Zoom to stop that kind of thing from happening. Unfortunately, there are some tools in the private sector, but we'll conduct an administrative review.
An administrative review, and he says the matter may be referred to law enforcement. Fish and Game is hoping to get some information regarding the illegal killing of a pronghorn near the Bingham County community of Aberdeen. Conservation officers estimate that the animal was shot with a rifle sometime between April 4th and April 11th. That is out of season. The carcass was located off-road in a cultivated field southwest of Aberdeen. Meanwhile, Fish and Game reports mule deer and elk herds across the state are healthy following a mild winter. Julie Lucata reports.
In December and January each year, the department radio collars a few hundred deer fawns and elk calves to track them throughout the winter. Last month, they determined that 60% of deer and 93% of elk had survived the winter.
Elk calves are quite a bit hardier. They're a bigger animal. They're less susceptible.
That's Fish and Game spokesperson Roger Phillips. He says survival rates depend on two things. First, how much fat they accumulated in the summer.
If they're a little bit light, they have a harder time getting through winter, and then it's the severity of the winter.
Phillips says even though spring brings plenty of food, the smaller animals are still struggling to make it.
A lot of these animals still aren't out of the woods yet, so, give them a break, try to avoid them. If you see them, kind of turn and go someplace else.
The population is bouncing back from the 22-23 season, when only 46% of deer fawns survived. Julie Duqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. We will see you back here on Thursday to stay in touch with the news between now and then. Check out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. And thanks for listening.